Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. Today with the 144 aspects incarnated. They disappear. So today we have received the 144 that came the for this trip for this week. But as you see, we don't have the space to put them all together to be all here. So that would be impossible. So we don't have the tools today to be all in the same spot. So tomorrow we will have the tools to be able, all of us, to be together in the garden. And so tomorrow I will show you all of them, and so we can do the alignments all together. Shh. Sorry. She was trying to sit in silence, but it was doing much more noise than just sitting. So of course that that we what I just said, that I will share a little bit the idea of why these 144 people had come here. I just had the opportunity to say hi to everyone, but I couldn't really know from where they came from or anything else. So I will try to know them better tomorrow, and of course I will share with them the task that we have come to do here in Egypt, and I will try to share a little bit of why what we are doing this next days, so you can be in touch with all of us and connecting to our energy. Just as a tiny explanation of this, of why this group of 144 has come, remember that we had spoken about the 144 aspects of the divinity. So our goal in this week is to to work on the 144 aspects, to know what they are, and we will go into the activation of them through the spirit, the body, and the soul. So we are going to go into the three pyramids every night, the three pyramids. So we will be there working with the body, with the soul, and the spirit. And the main goal of this is to sow the seeds of what is going to happen in 1 year, in 2022. So the main goal of this is to sow the seeds of the 144 that we will activate all together in 1 year. So just as a reminder, I will keep doing the alignments every day as usual. Nothing's changed. And also I will tell you a bit of the intention that you have to put with us during the time that we are inside of the pyramid every day. So don't worry, I will share that with you every day we go. So let's go to the topic for today. So let's go to the topic, which is sensibility. For today, we speak about sensibility. And I don't remember. It's just So, first of all, to understand the sensibility as we know it today, because we speak about sensibility like something that, even if it is really great, usually we relate it with the suffering, um, uh, with the sadness, and being so um, weak on perceive the others, and so on. So um, we have to understand from where it comes from, how it is created, the sensibility in our self and our being, so we can understand how to handle it and what is the use for this sensibility. To to understand sensibility or sensitivity, we should understand that something that I explained in previous videos related to the five senses. Sensitivity comes from sensus, the word sensus. Okay, so, and sensus is the senses, the five senses. The five senses are tools that were created by the nervous system in order to receive the information from the outside, so you can notify, you can know exactly what is happening around us. So the brain designed these five tools to perceive the environment, the information from the environment, and then it can process that information, creating a network of data that helps the body to know what is happening in the environment. So basically, all the information that happens outside, all the things that happens in the outer world, connects to the inside, to the inner world, by pulses, electrical pulses that are received by energy through the nerves of the nervous system. So when this information comes to the main core, which is the brain, it interprets that information and activates a network of things that decode this data, this information, so we can feel it, so we can perceive it and understand the environment. So remember that the brain, the nervous system, will receive the data, all the information, through the senses of touch, sight, hearing, smelling, and tasting. So now, how this information comes to us? It comes through electrical pulses. So these electrical pulses are like tiny hits, like tac, 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 tiny hits that once and again repeat, pulsing this information in an electrical way to the nervous system. And by these hits that it does, we receive the information in our brain. So it's like a constant hitting of data, of pulses that we receive and process in our brain. Tiny hits are called in the European language del, which gives the word dolor in Latin languages, which for sure in English you know as dolens. You don't use it much maybe, but there's a word that you can compare, which is dolens. The word pain, which is a translation of dolor, comes from penal, that means something, means like cause and effect, is the consequence of something. So basically, pain is the consequence of a pulse that you received. You will understand something. So it's like the retribution of something. So basically, the pain, the dolens, is a way in which the brain can measure the alarm of a data that is received from the outside through the senses. So sorry that someone is telling me that it's better to say taps than little hits. So it's like tapping. Okay, the nerve system is like receiving through tapping. Gracias. This is like a barometer to measure pain, which is the information that you are receiving from the outside. So even to make a caress is also something that the brain interprets like pain, but it's not the pain as we understand it. Is receiving the idea or the information of the pain because it's receiving these tappings constantly from the nervous system, so the brain interprets that as a pain. According to the interpretation of information, the awareness of the brain to interpret the data, is how you receive the codes of this information. So, this barometer of pain goes from the good pain till the bad pain, but all of this is pain. So we have, for example, the bad pain, which is suffering, and the good pain, which is pleasure. But all of this is pain for the brain, okay? All of that is pain. So this explains how for some people, a caress is like a pleasure, and for some others, a caress is like a lot of knives in the skin. It's terrible. And this is because some people have been traumatized by the touch or have some bad memories about this or bad experience about this. So the brain interprets a caress as something bad. So it's all about how your brain perceives, know it exactly how it is outside. Something that I experienced about this last month when my friend was giving birth. It was like she has given birth, and she was asking how we felt, because we were like headache and tired, and we felt really worse than her. And it's like men usually doesn't have as much as barometer of pain than women, for example, or because they are much more prepared to receive much more pain and also pleasure, and men, we do it in short periods and stronger. So we don't know how to handle. So the ability to handle the pain, to perceive the pain, is much more related to how your biology and your brain has been designed to understand what is happening than what is really happening. It's just interpretation. So the sensitivity is related to the ability that my brain has to interpret the information that comes from my 5 senses. So the question is, why to measure this by pain and not by, happiness? Because remember that we live in a world that is not magical. Our world is physical, and every cell of our body has been designed through thousands and millions of years to survive in this environment. So every one of our cells has been designed in order to survive in the environment. This is why the nervous system interprets the pulses of the external always as an alert of hunger or of being tired, of enemies. So the whole body has been designed to be aware of all the problems that can be there. If my stomach is in pain, so it's because I'm hungry. If my head is in pain, it's because I need to sleep. or stuff like this. Um, so I'm always alert of stuff that are happening outside. So that's why the pain is something that helps us to be realized. That helps us realize what is happening in the outside. This was created like this. The cell, the physical, is created like this because of the energetical. The energetical is the pulses of electrical pulses that creates the matter and storage information. So when the cell starts to evolve, the pain is like the basement of the physical body that is trying to survive here. But the reason why this energy moves around is because the reason why you feel that is because of the energy. So all this energy that we move through the body trying to interpret the information is understood by the brain, and then it creates a reaction to that pulse. So the pulse that we receive from the outside has a reaction within. So that reaction is the one that activates the glands by energy, activates the pulse of energy, activates the glands, and the glands push the hormones to react towards that thing that is happening outside. So because of this reaction, we feel emotions. So the emotion is the reaction, the hormones reacting to the pulses that you receive from the outside. So this is what makes that from the physical plane, we start to perceive pain in the emotional way, an emotional plane. So once we have the way of understanding the information, it starts to accumulate data all the time. It starts to register all the information in the brain. So everything that was experienced is registered in a network of neurons that creates synapses. And from that, the thoughts. So it creates the mind of a human that interprets the pains before they happen, because the physical and the emotional were reacting to things that were happening. But the brain, storing information from the past, can understand previously to try to intuitive understand what pain can happen after. So because of this is how the brain creates the mental pain. So we go into the mind now and we create pain even if the pain is not there. We just kind of imagine the pain, okay? And from that we have existential crisis, which is the pain of the spiritual level, okay? So that's the path how from the physical goes to the spiritual. So the measurement of the pain is to understand how can we be alert to all the things that are happening outside. So once we leave behind the physical and we start to be related to the emotional and the mental, the sensitivity is much wider because it starts to expand into different other concepts that are not only my five senses, that they go beyond, that they can connect wider into other minds, into other connections, and so on. And this is something that that develops the sensitivity, and it's something that mammals created, that mammals used basically, and it was useful for our evolution. So I will go into that. So what mammals did was that until some moments before we started with this process of sensitivity, most of the bodies were trying to protect themselves to survive as individuals. So they are looking for their own survival. But the mammal starts to understand that they could survive better if they were protecting the group. So they started to work like a herd, protecting the others, the family, the herd, the clan. So many mammals and many animals, they started to not only protect their own body, but protect the body of the ones around. And that creates in our brain the ability to perceive what the others are feeling, so you know what to do. So this creates like this intuition of what is happening to the other one, like the mother, like a kid, or something like this. So you start to perceive the emotions of the others, so you can understand how to help the others. So this is not only for humans, this was also for other animals. This is also for other animals even today. This is what creates, in between humans mainly, the ability to perceive others, to take care of the others, to be solidary with the others, helpful. Yeah. So you start to be sensitive to the others. So here what we have is a tool that was biological that becomes an attribute of the emotional, and then becomes a system for the mind in the civilizations. So the sensitivity is this attribute that we have in evolution, that helps us remember that we are not individuals separated one from each other, that we are parts of a network that is not only about protecting myself with 5 senses. Sensitivity is to activate a 6th sense, which is to connect with the others, with the entire being that we are. So the reason why the sensitivity is so difficult to understand even today is because we have been thousands of years living in context that was about survival, that was about fighting. Okay, so during our whole history, sensitivity was only useful for the survival of the group. But then you had to fight, you have to do the hard work, to do so many things in order to survive as a group or whatever. So you needed to fight in life. Yeah. In that terms, sensitivity was considered a weakness, because if you are sensitive to what the enemy is feeling, so you get killed. So this is why sensitivity was something taken as a weakness in a world of survival. So maybe it's difficult to understand this because we are complaining all the time about all the things. But the last 100 years was the first century in which people stopped surviving and started to live. Why? Because before, people need to survive, to fight for the things. And since 100 years ago, we started to create a system in which we are living, we are not surviving. Basically, because we are not fighting anymore for getting stuff. Okay? So most of the people in the world, I'm saying most of the people, not the whole planet, most of the people of the world stopped surviving and started to live. It doesn't mean that you are living good or bad. You can complain whatever you want, but you are living, not surviving. Okay? So this concept that is changing makes that all our history of survival, of thinking that sensitivity is a weakness, is stopping. Okay, is stopping. So most of the people are able to perceive more, to be much more sensitive about the things, because they have time. We have time to perceive much deeply the things. So, for example, there is people in the world that is surviving still. There's a lot of people surviving, but the most of the population of the world right now is living, not surviving. For example, all of you who are listening here, none of you is surviving. All of you are living. Why? Because you are here, basically, and not fighting for food. So you are here sitting, listening, and why? You are sensitive to a sixth sense, which is to expand your mind to perceive everyone as one. You are not only using your five senses to survive. That's why you are living, not surviving. So now, the sensitivity is basically a key that helps us to understand which people is evolving into a new humanity, because sensitivity is the way you can measure that you are activating a sixth sense to understand that we are all connected, and otherwise you are just surviving with your five senses only here in this reality. Being sensitive is kind of a way to understand that you are getting into a new reality. And also important to know that the pain that we feel, the suffering that we feel, makes us understand that we are still unaware or unconscious of things. Because when you are conscious, the pain turns into pleasure, not into suffering. So you can measure now that your pain, your suffering is related to your unconscious that you need to work with. So remember that the sensitivity is measured by the barometer of the pain. So as much aware and conscious I become, the less I suffer, and I start to feel pleasure of things. But if I still suffer for things, it's because I am living the unconscious of that aspect that I need to integrate still. So let's remember that sensitivity is this tool that we have to measure in which part of this barometer of pain we find ourselves, if in the side of suffering or going to the side of pleasure. It's an evolutive tool. So now you know that each time that I say, oh, it hurts this or that in me, or I complain about something, you can know now where is my unconscious. Where am I? The vibration for today is Po. The statement for today is, I am the will that manifests. Let's go to the alignment. We sit comfortable, close our eyes, and concentrate in the breathing. I take a deep breath and I let myself to feel, to expand my body, my soul, my spirit, the mind, extend like opening portals, doors towards everywhere from myself, opening myself to perceive, to feel, just to feel. Me abro a sentir la memoria de los aromas, de los colores, de los sonidos, de los gustos, de las texturas. I open myself to perceive the textures, the smells, the colors, the sounds, the flavors. I perceive the memory of all of them. I open myself to perceive the emotions that comes with these senses and the people connected to these emotions. I take a deep breath and opens myself even more. I feel. I take a deep breath and I become aware that all of this that I feel, that I perceive, is a part of myself. And as wider I open myself to feel, to be sensitive, I am able to expand, to be connected to the network. Is this sensitivity the one that allows me to take all what is expanded of me throughout the cosmos and manifest it here and now? I take deep breaths, bringing all this sensitivity, this capacity of manifestation through my sensitivity towards me, and I activate it within with my vibration. I feel and I manifest. I am the will that manifests. I am the will that manifests. I am the will that manifests. I believe in what I feel. I am. Take a deep breath and start to bring this consciousness all around your body, stretching, caressing, and slowly, each one at its own time, come back here and now. Thank you everybody for being here as always, and see you tomorrow at the same time.